In this video, we're going to give you an overview of the Vimum software. We'll run it and wait for it to start up. Once the software opens, this is the main screen. You'll see a prompt for entering the CAPTCHA. We need to type the code above to start the trial version. After starting, we can use the software for 30 minutes. With all features enabled for testing. Once we purchase the license, we can activate it using the license button, where we can activate the license. The software is basically divided into the main menu, which is what we're looking at here, where we have save and load buttons. Auto start. Email connection. As we can see, we can connect SMTP. Microsoft, Gmail, and more. We also have combination items, where we can combine variables, which we'll discuss later in the course. For each item, we can transmit data using the button. Transmission, where we can send data via a DB file that can be used in Python, for example, or some other external software by accessing the information through code lines or APIs, letting other software access the information. We can transmit data via OPC, via Modbus, via data CSV in a file saved on the server, or CSV in a file saved on the server, however, saved in the same line. In other words, this one is for online updates in Excel, and this one is for database accumulation. The data CSV is for database accumulation, and the CSV file is for an Excel file with only one line of data being updated. We have variable selection where I can choose, for example, we can select variables from camera 1 and the type of variable from camera 1. Here we have the supervisory button, where we can start, stop, and configure the supervisory by adding variables to it, setting up users so the system can be accessed from any computer on the network. We also have the Computer Vision Model Training System and Video Analytics, where we can select a specific folder with images and label this folder with classes by selecting them. We can label and train your own computer vision model. Training it to identify any type of object, like PPEs, defects in a specific component, creatures, certain image features, or basically any type of object can be trained in this module. Here we have log buttons, help, where we have the manual, where we can restore the entire software configuration. Support, where we can check and perform. A computer benchmark to see if the processor is okay and if the hard drive is okay. We have buttons here to open the installation directory and to enter licenses. We also have the option to select 3 languages: Portuguese, English, and Spanish. When we switch, the software updates. Here we have buttons to start the cameras. For example, I select a button and start the camera. Camera 1 will start. And here, we configure camera 1. Now, let's minimize it and continue on the main screen. Right below the camera start button, we have buttons for emails and settings for generative AI through Anthropic Gemini or OpenAI. We can send emails based on the variables we select here in the emails. We can add people to send copies, the subject, the message, and the camera frames we can select. We can also send the email after analyzing the images through OpenAI Gemini and Anthropic APIs. Remember, the software is completely offline, however, it's possible to connect via API through these 3 third-party providers. Now, we'll return to the camera module where, in the camera module, we have buttons to save, load, start all analyses, stop all analyses, the combination button, where I only have items from the camera module I selected, camera 1. Here's the button. As we can see, the transmission button is also in the camera module, meaning each camera can have its own separate transmission module. We can have another OPC server, for example, just for camera 1. Have another Modbus server specifically for camera 1. The camera's transmission module matches the camera itself. We also have the logic module where we can execute logic with selected variables. We have various types of logic in the list. We can also see here the intervals button where we create variables for operation on specific days and at specific times, which can be used in the software configuration. In this button, we have the active regions area, the log button, the help button, and the license button. When we update the license in any of the modules, the rest are updated as well. We have the language selection buttons, the camera connection buttons via ONVIF or RTSP, where we can edit the camera link, connect or disconnect. Here we have image size settings for playback. We can hide the video to reduce processing button. To delete drawn ROIs and the Tools button. In the Tools button, we have options to create an image histogram where we select capture the video in question and execute a video instead of the camera using the player. We can play a video that was recorded using the capture tool. Then analyze the image with tools 1 to 6. At the bottom, we have tools that range from tool 1 to tool 6. For example, tool 1 is for object identification. We can see that it has 10 regions for us to select from. Tool 2 is for OCR identification, license plates, and barcodes, and QR codes. We can select 5 ROIs. Tool 3 is a simple motion detection tool where we can set up 5 regions. Tool 4 is for identifying color segments, where we can choose 5 different areas. We can also, in Region 5, to select 5 ROIs for identifying average and dominant colors in the selected regions. And we also have a tool for identifying dynamic motion, which is a tool that detects movements using more precise mathematical calculations than tool 3. As we can see, we can use up to 16 cameras within the module VMAM main module. So basically, the software works this way. In the upcoming videos, we'll cover each item separately.